In this video, I'm going to show you how to connect a Mac Leopard client to a print queue on a Windows print server. To do so, we're going to use the LPR port. This is a printing port that is common among Unix systems and as well as Macintosh. With Windows, it is not enabled or installed by default, so you must install the LPR listener or LPD listener on the print server. To do so, you have to go to Add Remove Programs and go to Windows Components. Scroll down to get to Other Network File and Print Services. Click on Details, and here you see the print services for Unix. And you want to check that and you want to install that component. Now this runs as a service on the server, and it automatically starts up when the system boots up. So if you check under Services and you scroll down to TCP IP print server, this is the service of the daemon that it runs at the LPD monitor, which enables LPR listening on the clients. Now when you do this, this opens up port 515 on your server, and this is important to know because port 515 has to be open between your Mac clients and the Windows print server. And if you don't have this port open on any firewall or switch, or actually on the Windows firewall, then you will not be able to connect to the printer. The next step, you want to go to your printers and you want to decide which printer you want to connect to. In this case, I have a HP 8150. Now this is the physical name of the printer, and this is not the share name, so we need to connect to the share name. If you go to Properties, right click and go Properties, and you go Sharing, and this is actually the share name as well. So many cases the share name, it can be different than the physical name of the printer, so you want to make sure you're connecting to the right name. Okay, so we're going to put in HP 8150. The other item you need is the IP address of the Windows print server. In this case it's 192.168.1.101. So those are the two items you need to connect from my Mac client. I'll close this out. I'm going to go to my Macintosh computer. You want to click on System Preferences, and you want to go Print and Fax icon, click on that, and you want to hit the plus symbol, and here by default you have the IP connection. We recommend using the LPD daemon because if you try to use Windows printing, then it has to have the Windows browsing enabled, in this case SMB protocol, and there are a lot of networking restrictions that cause issues with this. So in many cases the Macs, you cannot browse the network in the server, and because of the way the SMB protocol connects, it's a connectionless protocol. So if you have network lag or networking issues, or if you have firewalls that are blocking port 139, and also under Windows XP 443, then you will not be able to browse the network. So this is why we recommend using LPD. And one other note is that you have to have a user account on the Windows machine that matches the login and password of the Mac client as well if you use an SMB. So we just find that this protocol is much easier. So in this case, to add the printer, you type in the name of my print server, and it returns a valid and complete address. So that means it can see the server on the network. In this case, this is where you put the share name of the printer. And now on a Mac, unlike Windows, everything is case sensitive. So if your printers or your share name are case sensitive or capitalized or not, then you need to make sure this matches. Now the next step here, it automatically fills in the print server IP address, but you don't want to do that. This is the friendly username that the the users see from when they print or from their Mac Leopard client. So you can put in any name here. You can put in like library, black, white. It's good to have the name here match the share name of the actual print queue. It just makes it easier to identify and troubleshoot. And then lastly, you can put in the location if you like, something like that. If you and normally we like to use a generic PostScript printer driver because what this does is it takes the job and it sends it off to the print server, and that's where it actually gets rendered. You can go ahead and you can install the driver that matches for this print driver, but it has to match and be compatible with the one that's on the server. So in most cases, if you're safe to go with the generic PostScript driver, and from that point you click Add. Okay, and now the printer's been added, and you can send print jobs to that. One thing you must know again is that port 515 must be open, and you can test this before you even add your printer. If you go to your applications on your Mac, and there's a folder called Utilities, and from Utilities scroll down and find that way in the bottom here. There's a utility called the Network Utility. I'm going to scroll down right here, pop that up. Okay. Now you can do a port scan that I have set up here, and you can put in the server, the GoPrint server IP address here, and then test ports between 500 and 515. And if the ports are open, you will get a successful return that open TCP port 515 printer, and the port has been completed. You will get this message in return. If it's not open, then you will not get this positive feedback. So this is a good way before you even try to add your printer to make sure this port is open. And then if you're trying to do Windows SMB printing, you can go ahead and do a port scan for port 139 and also 443 and see if those are open. And if they're not open on your network between the Mac client and the Windows print server, then that's more than likely one of the reasons why you can't view and browse your Windows print server shares. So again, this is how you add a printer to a Mac Leopard client.